This PC right here has been flipped, decent flipped for 367 euros. Guys, you might be wondering now, Hardwareflipper, but this is just a mainboard. Yes, this is because this was the original mainboard on the HP Z240, workstation. This mainboard here actually did test my resilience, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly what happened and why this mainboard is standing right here. See, on the front end, this was just a decent flip. You see, when somebody goes onto eBay, to your shop specifically, to buy a PC for 367 euros, definitely that's a good PC flip. This is a flip you are pretty much excited about. This was exactly what happened to me yesterday. I was excited because this PC was listed for less than 48 hours and somebody did go to my shop to buy it, and I was saying to myself, I'm going to make sure that this PC gets shipped out. There's just nothing that's going to stop this transaction. I was positive, being hopeful, given that this is a PC that I ordinarily thought was in very, very good condition, because whenever we receive PCs like this, as a matter of fact, I did receive 6 pieces of this particular HP Z240. When I received it, these PCs, because they looked clean, they were coming from a responsible organization, I felt like, I'm just going to do a basic test, which is to put the power cable just to be sure that there's power in the system. All the pieces did show signs of, being functional, given that, there was power in them and, they attempted to boot up. I just kept everything on the side and said to myself, all these pieces are good to go. I went ahead and I listed them. Little did I know that that was a mistake from my side, because ideally, I would naturally test the PCs, try to see if I can get them to really boot into Windows or whatever operating system that I decide to install on these PCs. And then I go ahead to check the USB port to be sure that everything was just fine. But I don't know, on this particular case, I was a little bit lazy. It happens. Sometimes you just kind of take certain things for granted. And that was a mistake on my part, because my standard operating process is that whenever I receive stuff like this, it doesn't matter how busy I am, before I go ahead to, list them on the platform, I make sure that these PCs are all well tested. But then this particular PC yesterday, I tried to set this PC up and it was one drama or the other. This was the original mainboard that was on the HP Z240. When I did finish, populating this PC with the RAM sticks, making sure that the SSD was installed and everything, this PC kept booting up with an error message. And whenever an error message is on a PC, guys, I want to tell you for free that, look, nobody's going to take that PC from you, because if somebody has to pay as much as 360 something euros, the person wants to receive a PC in the very best condition. And when I saw this error message, I was like, no, this cannot be. And mind you, it was at about 15 o'clock at this time, and I have to be at the post office latest at 17 o'clock. Otherwise, the PC will not be shipped out on the same day, and eBay would definitely see that as a transaction that was delayed. And when that happens, I get a hit as items not being sent out as at when they should. So I was like, no, this cannot be an error message by startup. This is crazy. I tried to look at whatever could be wrong with this PC. I went into the BIOS, tried to check, did factory reset. Everything was pretty much okay. I didn't find anything that was like, causing this kind of error message. This error message was also strange to me because it's something I've not seen before. But I said to myself, given my experience in this regards, I was like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and make, like a BIOS upgrade on this PC. So it shouldn't be a problem. Everything should pretty much be gone if I go ahead, to do a BIOS upgrade. But then, unfortunately, the BIOS upgrade did happen. Nothing changed. The PC kept giving this error message. I was a little bit, at this time, a little bit, stressed, because I was like, no, this cannot be. This is a PC that's supposed to be in very good condition. Like I said, coming from an organization, when a PC is coming from private households, yes, this kind of drama, I'm pretty more used to it. But when a PC is coming from an office, that presupposes that this PC was actually in operation before the organization decided to, let go of this kind of PCs. But then after trying everything, I was really constrained by time. I said to myself, at this point, I think I have to begin to think of another solution. I didn't want this transaction to go down, to be, cancelled, or, a PC sent out, the buyer is not satisfied and he wants to send me back the PC, because I just wanted this transaction to, go. I wanted this PC to finally, be shipped out. I have already prepared my shop for holiday mode. As a matter of fact, holiday mode is activated. I didn't want to begin to deal with, writing a customer and all that stuff. I decided to go ahead and change this mainboard because, like I said, I did receive, 6 pieces of this PC. So I went ahead, took out the mainboard from another Z240, workstation. I felt like, okay, I don't have to deal with these error messages anymore. Let me just go ahead, take a new mainboard and install it on this. Guys, If you ever changed a mainboard before, you will understand that that takes time. All right, so I went ahead, pulled out this defective mainboard, then took a mainboard I felt was also functional, installed it, went through all the processes of installing it, screwing on the screws on the casing of the PC, putting the processors, putting all the cables, installing the SSD, and mounting this PC and trying to put it on. And I realized that the second mainboard also had some issues. It was starting up, but starting up with some form of, drama. This mainboard here would start, switch off, and then attempt to start again. It will go off and attempt to start even a third time before it finally boots into Windows. I was like, what the hell is going on today? This cannot possibly be. This is the second mainboard. This first one has proven to be defective. Why is this one also having this kind of symptoms? And I was saying to myself, what the hell is going on? Is it that this PC doesn't want to be shipped out? This PC is just trying to be difficult. And at this point, I knew for sure that this PC right here, the HP Z240, obviously wanted to test my resolve, my determination to make sure that this transaction flies. I already saw it as a test of resilience, and I felt like, you know what, it doesn't matter if this PC is not shipped out today, we are going to make this work. We are going to make sure that this PC is going to be leaving this warehouse in the best condition, not with any error message, not with any funny startup. Everything is going to be done, professionally. I said to myself, at this point, I think I have to forget about the time, forget about the post office, because if you are under time pressure, things like this tends to happen. Things that want to kind of stress you, you'll be angry, you'll be in a hurry to deliver, and at the end of the day, you are just going to ruin the whole transaction. So I saw it like this PC was not in the best condition to be shipped out. For a PC to attempt to start one time and go off, the second time, go off, and the third time, it was just a mess. At this point, I was already getting frustrated, but then I went ahead, took up a third PC, and took out the mainboard and installed it. And at this point, everything worked well. At the end of the day, I had wasted time, I had wasted a lot of energy, a lot of stress. But the beautiful thing is that the PC was in the best condition. I went ahead, made sure everything was set up, updated the BIOS, installed all the drivers I needed to install, did a stress test on the PC until I was super satisfied that yes, everything is good to go. I could then go ahead, and send out the PC. But then the beautiful thing was that I still had a little bit of time. I still had like 10 minutes before the DHL, which is the delivery driver, was to come pick up the packet from the post office. I was still able to meet up, and the PC was still taken, by the DHL driver. And I was saying to myself, this is another pass mark for me. Of course, these are some of the things that happen behind the scene when you decide to flip PCs for profit. People do not talk about this. You hear all the beautiful stories on the front end, like, yes, I flipped a PC for 500 euros. I flipped a PCs for 700 euros, but then sometimes some of these PCs, even when you test them before, even putting on the offer on eBay, they tend to work. But then when the PC gets sold from nowhere, problems like this can begin to come up. A USB port might be defective, an error message by boot up can be there. And when it happens, it's just so frustrating. But if you have said to yourself, it doesn't matter the pains I have to go through. In this case, I have pretty much lost 2 PCs just to be able to ship out a third functional PC. But I don't care when it happens like this, because I've been in this game long enough. And on the other PCs, there are still a lot of good parts I can actually go ahead and sell and still recover my profits. The power supply on that PC can still be sold. The DVD drive can still be sold. The cables can be sold. The hard drive on that PC can be sold. The fans on the PC can be sold. Even the front, the chassis in front. I see some offers on eBay where people just want to buy, the front chassis because perhaps the PC they have has a broken front chassis, and these are parts I can still go ahead and sell. So it doesn't really bother me. But the beautiful thing is that I am so happy that at the end of the day, a buyer has come to my shop to try to buy an item, and I have been able to deliver, a very functional PC to the buyer. The other way around would have been a disappointment if the buyer has to receive the PC that's kind of like either booting up 3 or 4 times or, starting up with an error message. That would have not been good enough. And obviously, I know that if anybody would have received a PC like that, a PC that was bought for as much as 367 euros, he or she would not be satisfied. They want to return your PC, and if care is not taken, they might even go to your review session and want to give you a negative review. And I didn't want that to happen, but this was one big stress. And when I got home yesterday, I was like, what a day. Everything was just against this PC. But at the end of the day, resilience determination save the day. And this is exactly what you should have, because it's possible that you sell items that are not really technical like this. You might sell clothing, you might sell books, you might sell shoes. Guys, let me tell you, you are also going to be faced with a situation at some point in your reselling journey where your resilience will be put to the test. And if you are somebody that gives up so easily, guys, that will not be the best way to go. See, in the face of challenges, you have to be seen determined. You have to be seen, pushing through and telling yourself, look, this problem, it doesn't matter how it is, I am going to push through it. I am going to come out on the other side even stronger. And I'm going to make sure that my customers or the people that have come to my shop to buy my stuff, they are satisfied. You need this kind of mindset. Any other thing out of that would not be the mindset that will guarantee you success. If you want to succeed on this reselling street, when problems come to you, when disappointment, unfavorable situations come to you, you have to lift your head up and tell yourself, it doesn't matter if I have to lose money. Definitely, there are going to be situations where you have to lose, physical cash. You would have bought something, you try to sell them, and from nowhere, the item gets defective, and there's even no replacement for the item. That money is going to be lost. When things like that happen, tell yourself it's part of the package. Sometimes you are going to lose some, and sometimes you are going to win some. It is just what it is. Any other game, I do not know. From the game I know, which is winning as somebody that flips stuff on the internet, on eBay, on whatnot, on whatever platform that you flip stuff, there's definitely going to be situations like this where things are just going to be going south from nowhere, and your ability to take charge, take control, bring peace and bring order back to your processes will go a long way in determining whether you're going to be successful on this reselling street for a very, very long time. I hope this video helps you, kind of motivates you today, being Friday, to want to go out and take charge. And if situations come to test your resilience, stand up tall and make sure you do what you have to do. Until I see you again in the next one, peace.